Twitch as well. So if you want to be able to see the screen better, Twitch Brains 933, same as the username on TikTok. For anyone there, for everyone else, hello. So yeah, I want to talk about a little project that I had going, which is the pumpkin pie, the Wi-Fi pumpkin pie. For those of you on TikTok, it's this little device here. For everyone on YouTube and Twitch, it's this this thing here. This is the pumpkin pie, or the Wi-Fi pumpkin pie, as I've been dubbing it. Let me just prop that up there. Hopefully that'll sit nicely. So yeah, this have you ever heard of the pineapple pie, which I don't have mine handy. It's a wireless pen testing tool, and what it does is it has a lot of features crammed into really good features to be able to pen test wireless systems. So you can attempt to hack wireless systems and build up pen testing engagements, stuff in them. Really cool tool, but it's expensive. It's the guts of $250. That's about £200. Depending on where you get it from. Sometimes you can get it a little bit cheaper. So yeah, okay, cool. So sometimes you can get it a little bit cheaper. It depends. But I wanted to build something that was cheap and cheerful, and not that expensive. And so that's where this thing came into being. So it's a Raspberry Pi, a wireless card, an Altifa wireless card. It has to be a specific wireless card that allows it to go into remote mode to actually act like an access point. Battery, a little USB-C charging circuit that's in there, and a little boost converter on the other side. Anyone on TikTok, if you go to Twitch, Brains933, you'll see it better. And it's using a thing called the Wi-Fi Pumpkin framework, and that's the sort of core software that's running. It's an open source software that does a similar job as the Wi-Fi Pineapple, but it's it's open source. It's not it's command line based. You can install it on any on a Kali laptop. It doesn't really matter. But I wanted to see if I could get it running on a Raspberry Pi Zero and make it small enough form factor that it could be used a lot like the Wi-Fi Pineapple and a lot cheaper. So I'm gonna move my big mug out of the way. So this is my GitHub page where you can see it, Brains93 pumpkin pie _3. It's what I decided to call it. This is the case. If you go through this, it goes through instructions of how to build the device. Let me move that. It goes through how I built it, the kit that I used, the bits and pieces that I put together. It's all in here. It also goes through building the Wi-Fi Pumpkin framework software, just because it's a little bit fiddly to get running on the Pi Zero. It just is. It's just a little bit weird in the way that it does it. Also, my wires are a little bit shit. There we go. Let's stand that up like that. There we go. So yeah, it's a little bit fiddly to get running on the Pi Zero, so there's a little bit of hoops that you have to jump through. So I've got it all documented here. You can go through and get it set up. Something that I've come across recently, so I'm in the process of doing a bit of additional stuff to this. So you can see here I'm running this is WSL Windows Subsystem for Linux, and I'm running a sort of dummy version that I'm developing stuff on. I'm trying to install a fresh version of it, and something that I've noticed that whenever I run it, it complains. Can you see that okay? It's a little bit small, but hopefully, let me size. Oh no, it's just resize now. Oh, okay. Well, so basically, it's complaining because it seems to be very much hard coded to run with Python version 2.7. And in fact, if I do a sudo make install, we should be able to see that. So yeah, so you can see it's trying to run Python 3.7 setup py install, and it complains. This is complaining because setup tools, import setup, it can't find packages. I think I had this issue last time, I'm still working on it. It can't find the setup tools, it's not importing correctly in the setup py. So by default, the most recent version of Python is 3.8. And if it broke, it doesn't like it because it's trying to do 3.7. I downgraded to 3.7 on this. In hindsight, I'm thinking that was stupid and I shouldn't have done that because I should just change this, that it just runs with Python rather than a specific version, and it'll run setup install or just Python 3. Yeah, either works fine, but just something to be aware of, that you at the minute, if you pull the code straight from the GitHub repo, it's going to need to be Python 3.7. The from setup tools import setup, that broke. I had to change that before. Why did I have to change that before? It's not here. I think it might be, it's this. It's changing the requirements text, the PyQt5. I think this is what caused that error last time, because these versions of PyQt5, the newer versions of it, they handle that setup file a little differently, which is why that's kicking up shit about not being able to import the module, because the module is actually named different in the newer versions. I think that's what was going on with that. Sorry, that was a bit of a sidetrack. So just so you're aware of what that was going on. So yeah, you can go through this. It gives all the steps of how to build it. It's really simple to build. I've got screenshots here of sort of what it looks like on the inside. So you can see here I've got the Pi Zero. I've got two cables running onto the positive and negative rails. This is what's giving it its power. Those are going to a boost converter, because you can see the lithium battery is a 3.7 volt. Now, the Pi Zero will run on 3 volts. However, it won't run the wireless card. So the wireless card, you need to give it 5 volts. It'll try and run, but it really doesn't like it. It's really ropey, so I find it best to give the Pi the full 5 volts, just so that it runs stably, and it doesn't cause a whole lot of excess waste. This here you can see is the little boost converter. These are 10 to a penny. You get tons of them on a strip, and you just break them off and put them in. This is a USB-C one. I actually did try and use a USB, micro USB. I did have a ton of them, but I couldn't find them at the time, and it was really annoying me. So I bought USB-C ones because they're the only ones I could get, and then of course I found the micro USB ones. Go figure. But it's all going to USB-C anyway, so not the end of the world. So this is a great wee circuit, because it'll charge the LiPo battery safely, and it'll also distribute the power from the battery and do all the low voltage protection, all that stuff. Really, really good little kits, and if you're working with LiPo batteries, I would definitely recommend using something like that. This is the Alifa, I always pronounce that wrong, wireless card. It's just the standard card. I've just taken it out of the case. So I just taken it out of the case. I did not make this circuit. I didn't design it. I didn't build it. It's just the Alifa wireless USB adapters that you can get, and I've just decased it and put it in here for space. And then that's the outside of it. Oh, and this is the little boost converter that's changing the 3 volt input to 5 volts output, just for the Raspberry Pi. Again, that was pennies. If you want links to the hardware, it's all on here where I got it from. Most of it was from Pi Moroni, and some bits and pieces were from eBay. So if you want to get them, that's up to you. Oh, what's this? if you have pip installed, then pip install whatever the package was might resolve your import failure. Could be the environment you were using. Yeah, it's I had this problem before, Paul. So the package is installed, so it is, but it's a newer version of the package that's installed. So it's this PyQt thing. So you can see here that I've said in documentation, edit the requirements txt so that you install these versions. Yes, I do have it before that. So I've fucked up here because I've tried to run the install before doing this. I didn't read my own documentation. Go figure. So yeah, do this before you run the install, because if you do it after, it's already went and installed these two packages, and it will install the latest versions of them. The latest versions, I don't know, are in 6 point something. This is 13 point something. And they name the modules differently, which is why the import's failing, because even though the correct package is installed, it's the wrong, or as far as the code is concerned, it's the wrong package. You can't find it, which is why you need to edit that. If you do this, if you do what I did and don't read the fucking documentation, you have to go through, uninstall these, and then install them manually, or run the setup again up to yourself. I just installed them manually just to avoid the issue. In fact, we'll step through that in a second, so when I'm finished rambling, just to show you what that is. So yeah, Paul, I think that's what the issue is. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've installed this. I haven't been working on this in a while. Yeah, I've been working on this project for a while, so it's been a bit since I was building this thing. So my actual dev environment that I had set up for it is long since fucked. I've probably deleted the VMs. Tell lie, I'm not using VMs. I'm using Windows Subsystem for Linux. I'm using this, but I don't think this is the same WSL container that I built the original thing in. I don't think it is. It doesn't look like it. It didn't have the Wi-Fi pumpkin installed and stuff like that. So probably wasn't. I don't know what I did with that container. It's gone, lost into probably the recycling bin. What else was I going to talk about in this? Oh yeah, and there's a link to a YouTube video I put up where I sort of go through the hardware, just like I did today, so wouldn't worry too much about it. But something that I'm working on, and the Wi-Fi Pumpkin framework. Do I have a link to it? I do. So the guy who made the Wi-Fi Pumpkin framework, so the software that I'm actually using to do the actual man-in-the-middle attacks and the meat of this, it was made by this person here, POC Labs, and he actually reached out to me, which was really cool. He reached out to me on Twitter. I put a picture up of the thing, said this is what I was doing, and he pinged me and said he thought it was quite cool. But one of the things that he sort of mentioned as a I don't know, area of interest, is that the word, or something that would be interesting? The Wi-Fi Pumpkin, the old version of this, Wi-Fi Pumpkin 3 is the most recent version. There is a Wi-Fi Pumpkin, I think it's 2, or just Wi-Fi Pumpkin, I can't remember. But it had a GUI. It had a interface, a user interface that you could go and type things and click things and use all GUI stuff. The Wi-Fi Pumpkin 3 he made entirely command line based. He didn't build a GUI for it. Now, the reason that he didn't was time. He's maintained this thing himself. He's built this amazing tool, and he just didn't have time to build a new GUI for it. Now, one of the big problems that I have with this, as it stands, the screen that I didn't have space in the case to put the screen in, which was very sad. I was going to have some like sys information on the little e-ink display, have it mounted in there. I didn't have space. If I ever get a 3D printer, I'll then put it in. So yeah, my big issue with this is that I have to pre-configure it. So I have to go in, like SSH into this in an environment where I've already got things set up, connect to it, tell it what access point I want it to connect to whenever we go to whatever I'm going to do, whatever I'm doing. pre-configure all that information, and then go there and switch it on, and then it'll connect. That's not ideal because it means you can't change it out in the field. You have to preemptively work out, okay, this is the access point I'm going to connect to, and this is how I'm going to configure it. The sort of hacky way I got around that was I set this to connect to the hotspot on my phone, and in that way I could SSH from my phone. So if I was out and about, I could SSH from my phone into the device, do all the tinkering and setting it up, and then it would go. But it's not ideal. It's not great. So what I wanted was this to be able to spin up a access point of its own, a management access point, which is the same way that the Wi-Fi Pineapple works, where it has a management access point that you connect to, and from there you can then configure it. So I wanted this to have something similar. Now, in order to do that, I need to tweak the hardware. At the minute, I only have one wireless card in it, so it's acting as the sort of broadcast. Everything's connecting in through that wireless card, and then it's connecting to the access point from the Raspberry Pi's onboard Wi-Fi adapter, which is obviously not great, because well, the Wi-Fi card on the Raspberry Pi is shit, for want of a better word. So what I was thinking for a sort of Mark II of the hardware of this was I would have two of the wireless cards, have those two acting as the actual like hack interface, so they would connect in through one and go out through the other, and then use the Raspberry Pi's onboard wireless as the management access point, so that you would then connect into that. That was the plan. I'm actually curious, Paul, are you still watching? Because I may need your help in a minute. So that was the thinking for the hardware. Where this comes into the GUI is because I then need a web interface for this. So I need an interface that I can then work with the Wi-Fi Pumpkin framework and send it commands and tell it to do stuff. This was what was of interest to the guy who made the Pumpkin framework, because he obviously didn't have a GUI. So he was like, look, if you get a web interface working for this, that we could then use it and maybe integrate it into the actual framework itself, which I thought would be super cool. So I'm going to spin up the framework, the site that I've got. So I've got part of the GUI built using Flask. I may switch to Django. I think it might be better to build this in Django, but Django scares and confuses me, and it hurts my brain. Whereas Flask is nice and simple. So I don't know, but if I'm going to switch, I need to do it now before I get any further with the GUI, because otherwise switching is going to be way too much work. It's going to be more hassle than it's worth. To try and switch at that point. So I need to make that call sooner rather than later. So let me see. I need to go into Pi web GUI. There it is. Okay. And also, if you want to see the web GUI on the GitHub, if you change branches, there is another public branch called GUI that has all the code for the web interface in it. It's under there in web GUI, and it also has a little screenshot so you can see it if you want. But it has the code in there, so if you want to fiddle about with it, it's in that public repo as well. So let me see. It's you know what? I can't remember what it is. So why type out a command that'll take you 5 seconds when you could spend a minute going through your command history to find it? Oh, I made a mistake. I'll just type out the command. Hello, could you teach me to hack an Android camera? No. Export Shit, I can never remember. I can never remember the command. That's a quick start. Export flatten. Yeah, okay. Sure. All right, trying to export. Let's go export app equals, and it's the web GUI.py. So Flask run. Hopefully. What? Flask not found. What? Ah, fuck! I've uninstalled Python. Oh, Grant, you dickhead. I uninstalled Python because I was trying to get the framework to work. I've then broken my app. Derp to derp. Okay, so let's fix that. I think Python is actually installed on this. No, it's Python. Sorry, Python 3. Yeah, okay. So Python 3 install Flask. No module. What? Oh, well, fucked my Python install. Let's just try pip3. It's not gonna be. No, it's not gonna be in there. God damn it. Oh, right, okay, yeah, the install was fucked, that's why. Give me a minute. Bear with me. This is the joys of live demos, eh? So, Python 3, pip3, Flask install, no module named pip3. Let's do pip. No module named pip. There is a module named pip, you fuck. Yeah, it's removed. I've removed all of the dependencies so you can pip's uninstalled. What version is that? Should be Python 3, yeah, okay. There we go. Painful. Don't do dev work. Oh my god. Okay, successfully installed. Cool. Right, so let's do. We need to set up the environment variable again, so we'll do that. We'll do a Flask run. What do you mean Flask not found? Installing collected passages script installed, which is not in path. Add directory to path or suppress. Ah, fuck. I can't remember how to add a directory to path. God damn it. Oh, that might actually do it. Nope. So what do we want on this? Do you know what? I might be better just doing a fresh install of WSL. Blowing this one away. Because I think I have fucked it. There we go. Okay. Jesus Christ. Generally teaching rocks to think was a silly notion. Is that, yeah, am I the rock in this? Is that what? Okay. Ah, come on. Okay, there we go. No silicone rock. Oh, I see. Yes. I mean, arguably they don't think, they just do what you tell them. They're just very specific about it. So yeah, let's zoom in a bit. Okay, so this in all its glory is the web interface. This is as far as I got before I lost Steam with it, so I'm picking back up that Steam now, all being well. What it does, so I'm thinking that the first thing you want to do whenever you connect to the management interface is connect it to the Wi-Fi so that it has internet connection. So set up that sort of connection that you're going to be going outbound first of all. That was my thinking, the first thing you'd want to do. So this is what the home page is currently. First of all, it'll tell you whether there's actually internet in the first place. So if there's no internet, this will be red and say no internet connection. It'll then allow you to select an interface that you want to be that connection. So if you want to be specific in which access card you want to use for the outbound or which one you want to use for the inbound, it'll let you select that. Right. So it'll let you select that here. You can then put in the SSID and the password. Security wise, this is absolutely shit. I mean, so bad. This is done in a what's it called, post request. Yeah, I think it's done in a post. Basically, whatever you type in here, the SSID and password is going to go up into the URL. So from a security perspective, really shit, because that password's just plain there. But it's a pen test until you're the bad guy, so it's okay, right? It's okay, right? Tell me it's okay. So yeah, I need to fix that, but for the meantime, fuck it. And it works, so it'll actually go and run the command in the back end to connect to a wireless adapter. What I then need to do, the next thing that I need is to connect to the Wi-Fi Pumpkin framework itself, and that's the next hurdle that I'm working on. Let me show you the code. So this is the web GUI at the minute. Let me see, how small is that? That is quite small. Let's boink. So let's get rid of this. It's possible. Get rid of this. So if any of you don't know, whenever you've got a WSL instance, if you use Visual Studio Code, you can connect it to that instance. So you can see here, WSL Ubuntu. So this is actually all running on this container, which is quite nice. Oops, I just shook that and threw everything away. That there, it's okay. We all know your passwords anyway, which is helpful if you ever forget. Yeah, I mean that's why it's good that Google has all this information about me. If I ever forget my card number or anything like that, I just ask them, and yeah, they're like, yeah, here's your password. It's okay. It's not okay. I need to fix that. It does need to be fixed, but we'll get there. So this is the actual web app as it is. So I'm importing Flask. This is fine. I'm using requests. This is how I'm doing sort of internet calls. Wait, what the fuck am I doing with requests? I don't know. Where are we? Oh yeah, it's been a while since I looked at this. I have to remember. So what the fuck am I doing with this? This is why comments are good. So yes, I'm importing a request. This is how I'm checking if there's internet connection. That little flag that says whether there's internet or not. Sub processes. This is what I'm doing to actually make the telling the Pi itself to connect to the access point that you tell it to, and OS I'm using for something somewhere, I'm sure. So running a bash a run shell. So this is boilerplate command. This is just a function that I made so that I could give commands to the Pi. I didn't want to be typing this out every time, so this is just a little function. I give this a bash command, a shell command, and it will run it. Security wise, fucking horrendous. You could put anything you want into this web app. Are you sensing a theme about the security of this? I hope you're sensing a theme. But yeah, I could just stick Python code into the SSID and the fucker will just run it. It'll just, yeah, you want to run Python code? No problem. Yeah, I don't want an SSID. There is no input validation in this. It is terrible. But hey, Fuck it, YOLO. Again, you're the bad guy in this scenario, so it doesn't need to be scary. So yeah, that's what this function is. Just boilerplate, just to run commands, because I'm going to be running commands to interact with the Pumpkin Pie framework. Maybe. The Pumpkin Pie framework I see actually has an API, and I think that's probably the easier option, is to just make API calls to it. So I'll be using requests for that. This is the actual part of Flask, just making the website that we were just on, the dashboard. Standard, you know, it's the root directory, that's what we want. This interfaces, os list dir sys class net, that's what's giving us our list of network adapters. So that's where that's been pulled from. And then it does a get request. If it can talk to Google, it then does internet connected. Now, this will throw wobbly if DNS is fucked, but I wanted it to be that way. So your DNS could be fucked, but you still have internet connection. So it might not be able to resolve google.com, but it still has internet connection. So I could have got around that by doing a get request to 8.8.8.8 or something like that, or a ping. And that way it would have known if you still have internet connection, even if Google's fucked, or sorry, even if your DNS is fucked. But I kind of wanted it to be overly cautious. I wanted it to be that if your DNS is buggered, it still shows as down, just so you know something's not right. Because if your DNS is not right, the other attacks and stuff that you could potentially do, they're going to have issues. So that was why I wanted to keep that. So it just saves internet connected to a variable or no internet connection if it doesn't work. And then it returns the render template. So this is a Flask thing to render an HTML page. And we're passing in a couple of variables into that HTML page. So internet and interfaces. So the list of interfaces that we're getting from this command here, and whether we have internet connection or no internet connection. If I go into the HTML, we should be able to see that in here. So we've got, my HTML is really bad. I learned HTML for this, so apologies. So we've got a list here that's basically looping through for each interface, and it's putting that as a drop down menu. And where is it? Oh yeah, and then up here is where I'm putting whether the internet variable is connected or not. I think I have the color coding, like whether it shows as red or green in the CSS, I think is where I did that. Let's have a look at this. Where did I do that? Fuck, where did I do that? Have I done that yet? Maybe I haven't done that yet. Huh. Okay, maybe I haven't done that yet. Maybe it still shows as green even if it says internet not connected. I'm nearly sure I had that set as red. Unsure. But that's where I should do that. And so let's go back to the main console. So that's the HTML for the index. Fairly standard outside of that. The connect is, oh, actually that's something I should show. Where's my button? Yeah, there it is. So here is the form where you put in the SSID and the password, and then whenever you click the button, it then redirects you to the start with these obviously in as a post request. And wait, what? I think I've named them wrong. Have I named them wrong? Am I also about face here? Am I on oh, derp. Sorry, it's all wrapped up in a form. I told you it's been a while since I've looked at this. Sorry, so that start button isn't in place yet. That start button is to start the Pumpkin Pie framework, which is obviously what I haven't done yet. This is the work in progress. This is the form here. So it's the action is connect. So this is what the button does. It redirects you to the connect thing. It's my fault. But sorry, yes, it's a get request, not a post. Apologies. It's a get request, which is why it should be a post, is what it should be. But at the minute it's a get request, which is why it's in the HTML, or sorry, in the URL. So whenever you run that, it then redirects you to this /connect page, which then runs the command to connect to the Wi-Fi. So you can see here I'm getting the request args get value, the SSID, the password, and the interface. So the information that we gave in the dashboard, it's pulling all that information in, saving it into variables. Yep. And it's saving that into variables. We then run command, or we then set up our command snaf string, which is then running this command here, or passing in our variables, which is just setting up for telling the Pi to connect to a wireless network. Then use the run shell and pass in the command. So that's this function up here where you run the sub processes open and run the command. And then it redirects you back to the main page because there's nothing to see here, but it's just going to connect. We don't really want to go to a blank page that just says, yeah, it's connected or no, it's not. It'll redirect you back to the main page. So back to here. So this would be internet not connected. You would go through, type in all of the yada, 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 and then that will change to internet connected whenever it's done. So what I need to work on next is this bit, the start. So as you can see, running the command, I'm trying to run the command Wi-Fi pumpkin 3, passing that into the run shell, and then redirect back to the main page. At the minute, I've got it redirected back to the main page. Eventually, it's going to redirect to this site here, this dashboard, and that's going to have all of the bits where you can press the buttons and put in the stuff to actually work with the framework and run attacks and the likes. So I need to work out, at the minute, this doesn't work. The Wi-Fi Pumpkin framework doesn't seem to like to run in the background. As soon as the shell closes, it seems to freak out and die, so I need to work that out. Probably by doing a screen, I'm not sure. So yeah, that's where this project is at. I'm doing this on my lunch break as usual, so I'm going to call it here and then go get some lunch. If you have any questions about this video is it's obviously going to be up on YouTube as well, so if you have any questions, put it in the comments. If there's anything you want to see, or if you have any tips for this. As I said, I might be ripping this out and remaking this in Django, just because I think Django will be better for it, particularly for the dashboards. But Django scares and confuses me, so we'll see. So yeah, if you have any tips on that, let me know. So yeah, and if there's anything else you want to see in the future, let me know. So I'll see you there.